I've touched on the browser throughout these videos, but I want to take a little bit of a closer look. Now, we know that we have the different tabs and what they do and the different shortcuts to get to them. But we can also use our mouse scroll wheel by just scrolling up and down, and that'll move through them, which I think is a kind of cool feature. Now, here we have a home page, and this allows us to search the entire browser. On each of these specific pages, we have a magnifier tool for a search field, but this allows us to search anything. Like, for example, I can search by tag. Maybe I want to go rock, organ, and there are some interesting parts. I can drag that directly in, and we'll see that it's created a sound along with the effects. And that's great. I'm just going to hit Shift-T to get rid of that. And we can search like that, or we can just click to remove the search criteria, and we can search for something like room EQ. And there it's giving me room for the snare room AU preset. So all kinds of ways to search there throughout the entire browser versus specific fields. Like, for example, if I type room reverb there, I'm going to get the room reverb plugin, since that's an effect plugin. So that's basic searching. Now here on the home page, let's get rid of the search field as well. We have two buttons at the bottom. We can do this to re-index all the presets in case we've made any changes in Windows Explorer or Finder. It'll update it, and this will open up the plugin manager. Let's close that instrument, and we can manage our plugins from here, but I don't want to look at that too much right now. I want to just focus on the browser. Now, we have thumbnail views that we can show or hide. So, for example, here in Instruments, let's go to PreSonus. I've got a bunch of third-party ones here. But I can click this button over here to show thumbnails where we get an icon, and we can right-click and favorite it if we want, or hide it. But the idea is that we get icon views, and then we can click to disclose the presets within each instrument, in this case, since we're in the Instrument tab. And we can turn icon view off by clicking that, where we just get a list of names, which I prefer because we can get more in visually in the one screen. And we've also got another display toggle button over here where we can change between tree mode and gallery view. And that just gives us a different way of viewing the instruments with navigation arrows like that. Or we can click right here to show the gallery like that, and then we can double click in there all the names. And different ways of viewing the same content. There's Blue Cat Audio, bigger icons. Depending what you like to see. I prefer seeing as much as possible within one screen. So I'm going to turn that view off. And then we have this over here to toggle the tree view, and I'm going to turn that off. And we've got a navigation bar up here, which allows us to jump around. So first of all, we can sort by any of these criteria. I can go to flat list, where I just get a flat list. I can sort by folder, by vendor, which is where I was at, and I think that's the default. And we can search by type. So let's stick with vendor for the moment. And then we have this navigation bar with breadcrumb navigation style, meaning we can click the folder names to move quickly to a higher level without having to scroll. So if I click to PreSonus, I'm at the PreSonus level. If I click to Instruments, I'm there. And we can use these drop-down triangles to get a little submenu for everything. Like, for example, I'll go to Native Instruments. It brings me there, and I can click there and get to my specific Native Instruments. So you can navigate just using these breadcrumb style navigation. So click that to go back, click there to get a subfolder, and so on. So if I click here, I can jump maybe to PreSonus, and then here I get all my PreSonus instruments. And then the same thing works in, let's say, the Effects tab, where I'm sorting by type over here, but I can go by vendor or folder or whatever. And then I have my different chains. So there's Apogee, and there are the ones I have by Apogee. There's Boz, and there are my Boz plugins, and I can click to go back to the top level. So let's go there and jump to PreSonus. And there I can see my different PreSonus effects. And then I can either scroll here or go here and choose something, like, for example, channel strip, and then I can reveal the different settings that we have, and then just drag and drop directly onto a track or in the console view, or even onto an event. Now, let's say I like the channel strip plugin, and I know I'm going to want to use it a lot. I can right click and mark it as a favorite, and we'll see a star next to it. Maybe I like beat delay as well. I'll mark that as a favorite. Now we also have this wrench icon, which allows us to manage plugins. I can click something. If I know I'm not going to use it, it'll hide it from view. So it's a nice way to keep your plugin list a little slimmed down without actually removing the plugins in the plugin manager. And we can also unfavorite something if we decide we want to take it out of favorite mode, and then we can close that up. And I can also right click, for example, on channel strip, and then click favorite again and remove the favorite that way. But let's right click and add it back as a favorite. And I'm going to scroll to the top, and we'll see here that we have a list of the favorites, and they're the two that I've favorited. I'm just going to right click and unfavorite them. And then they're removed from there. And we also have a recent list for the 10 most recent items that we've used. Now we have mix effects and effects chains. We'll look at those in the coming videos when we explore the console and mixing in a bit more detail. Now let's click on folder, and this gives us a list of category-specific folders, and we can easily customize these. These are some of my other plugins, like for example, McDSP Retro Comp. Maybe I want to drag that into my Dynamics folder. You can just drag and drop to get them right in. So there it is. And I even get access to my presets that come with this third-party plugin, and I can drag and drop it out of there if I want to remove it. Now, if I want to create my own folder, I can just right-click and go New Folder, and I'll create a new folder like that. And there it's a subfolder in Dynamics since I clicked right on it. And I can right click and I can delete it just as easily. And to create a root level folder, I'll just right click in the browser outside of one of these folders, maybe at the bottom here, and go New Folder. And now I've got a new root level folder at the top of the hierarchy. And again, I can right click and remove that one or rename it. We'll continue with more in the next video.